Well, from the start of the war in Ukraine, the seaside city of Mariupol was a key target for Russia. The bombing of its maternity hospital, its theatre giving shelter to hundreds of families, and the siege of its steelworks at Azovstal became defining moments in the battle for south and the east of the country. But after 83 days, Mariupol fell, and since then Russia has been both demolishing and rebuilding to create a new city, a model Russian city with little trace of its Ukrainian past.
Mariupol has been turned to rubble twice. First by Russian missiles, then by Russian bulldozers.
Я думаю, что сейчас идет массовое уничтожение всего, не только украинской.
More than 2,500 buildings sustained damage in the fighting. Nearly half of everything that stood in the city. The Conflict Observatory, a US NGO, has used artificial intelligence to map the extent of the destruction. A city that flourished over 300 years, practically demolished in a matter of weeks. Transformed into a blank canvas for plans like these, drawn up in Moscow to turn Mariupol into a model Russian city. This is the master plan. It's just a sheet of A4, but it represents a sharp change in a country's heritage and culture. Behind this are multiple documents, hundreds of pages long, produced by the Russian government, with details of how it aims to turn the city into one of its own. On the second page, it lays bare its intention to hold the city under Russian control for the next 2 decades and grow the population they either killed, maimed, or drove away. Flick through the document a few pages, and page 14 shows their plans for the old town. We've taken satellite imagery and aligned it with the plans. The traditional patchwork of small houses that gave the centre its character are ruined and will be replaced by apartment blocks. Karina fled Mariupol last year for Leon in northern Spain, forced to leave her family behind.
Российский снаряд прилетает прямо под окна, а мы были на первом этаже. И он разрывается и пробивает меня насквозь одну ногу и застревает во второй ноге.
Wounded, she fled for Dnipro, where Ukrainian doctors tended to her leg.
Во-первых, понятно для всех, в том числе мариупольцев, это делается для того, чтобы скрыть свои преступления, скрыть все то, что они сделали, потому что...
The famous mural of a little girl. She lost her leg and her mother was killed after an indiscriminate rocket attack on the city in 2015. The monument was a symbol of resilience, of hope, to those living in her shadow. But in autumn, it began to be painted over. Now, there is no trace. Russian colours have taken her place. Back in the UK, I showed all this to Professor Alexandra Zanthaki, the UN Special Rapporteur on Cultural Rights.
I think what is important is that culture is not used as a form of propaganda, and that in the post-conflict era, cultural heritage is maintained and revived. Otherwise, we can't talk about cleansing, an idea of cultural cleansing.
We asked different ministries in Russia and the Donetsk People's Republic for comment, but received no reply.